That's a lot of ingredients, my friend.
Hello and welcome to episode number 29 of Unrelenting for June 3rd, 2022. It's June, Gene, which means it's Pride Month. You feeling prideful?
Yeah, happy gay day.
Isn't pride a sin?
It is, actually.
Which is kind of, I mean, I guess
the whole concept of pride made no sense to me. Like, you know, I've had gay friends since like college.
Hey,
and
now.
This, what, you haven't?
Oh, I'm just saying, just since college. I mean, what, you avoided everyone before?
Okay, to be fair, I did have a friend in high school that later turned out to be gay.
Oh, see, that's fine. I mean, again, people
absolutely
hide it.
Not acting gay in high school.
What is acting gay?
Oh, come on. Do I have to explain that to you?
I think so, because I think there's different
varieties. How about putting
varieties.
other guys' penises in your butt?
Well, yeah, but you normally don't see what people are doing. I mean, this
But
isn't
you kinda
going out
know
in
how
the
they're
open.
acting.
Oh,
So, anyway.
or is it different in Minnesota?
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
pretty
it's very
elk
different.
over there. Mm-hmm.
Elk?
Elk. Don't you have elk in Minnesota? I mean,
Yes, there are elk in Minnesota.
that's what I'm saying. I was trying to pick a animal that was more apt to be in the Minnesotan area.
Okay.
But yeah, pride has never really made sense.
No.
And it is so very exclusionary.
It is. And I think the idea was don't hide this, be proud of what you are. But I think simply going from that thought, which may not be necessarily a bad one, to just outright like pride, period, I think is problematic because pride is exclusionary. There's no two ways about it. And it's the exact same general folks that are very proud of the rainbow flag that will tell you that you are a Nazi for being exclusionary.
Right. While they're being exclusionary. And does everybody that is gay have to love rainbows? I mean, I don't understand
I don't know. It's a different question. Okay, are you hearing anything?
I'm hearing you as Gene tries to
Just
pump
me.
wattage into our cottage and audio. No, that's just you.
Okay, well, you know what? Next time we record, why don't you get here like a half hour early so we can test this?
I was here an hour early. I was playing music. I was having fun over on the No Agenda
instead of
stream.
having fun, let's do some testing next time.
But you were working.
I've got 20. I just said next time, not this time. I've got like 20 different audio things here that all should be working
but they're not.
And stuff.
You'll be able to whip that Motu into gear.
In a year? Is that what
no, into gear. Not in well, in a year, I hope. Yeah.
In a year?
That would take a while.
Are you insane, man?
It would take a while. I'm just waiting for white straight guy Pride Day. When is that?
You hear anything now?
Just you.
God damn it.
White
all right, fine.
Straight guy Pride Day. When is that? And what is our symbol?
That's every day.
We don't have a rainbow flag. What do we have?
Mm-hmm. Well, you have the Nazi flag, clearly. What do you mean?
No.
You know, as a white dude, what else? What other flag do you need?
Who dares to be white?
Yeah, I mean, you clearly chose to be a white male.
Yes, everybody chooses exactly what they want to be.
And since you chose to be a white male, and by the way, you also clearly chose to be straight because that's a choice.
Of course. Yeah.
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 Not a choice to be gay, but it is a choice to be straight.
I don't get it.
Consequently,
so very exclusionary.
What else other than the Nazi flag would represent you? Come on.
I don't know. The Ukrainian flag.
Oh, yeah. The Ukrainian flag. Well, now that may be the case, but I have a feeling previous to what's going on these days, maybe, people might have a different take on that. Although the Ukrainian flag, honestly, isn't all that far from the Nazi flag. So I guess it does work.
See, it all works.
Mm-hmm.
It all works. And I've been trying to get the live streaming Satoshi's thing going.
Mm-hmm.
And now when you boost Unrelenting when listening to it in a Podcasting 2.0 app, half goes to you, half goes to me. It's like magic.
Is that so? We're going to need somebody to test that because we have no confirmation that's actually working. Whatever magic you did,
because we haven't had any boost yet.
Well, that's why we
anything
need a
streaming. So yes,
that it's working.
That and then the live stuff is still so combustibulated. And try to spell that. I dare you. It is. I'm thinking the easier thing might be is to just set up another feed for the show and only use that for live, because right now, otherwise it would take like cutting and pasting and adding stuff to the RSS feed to have the live bit in, because none of these programs, or like PowerPress, which is what we're using on the WordPress platform to publish, none of them have the ability to do that. So it's like, well, there's another site that you can go and create, it'll take your RSS feed and then add this, and then you just cut and paste that and post it.
Yeah.
Which is this is still the barrier to entry for so many people.
It is. And this is a battle that I've lost with Buzzsprout, the company that hosts Sir Gene Speaks, which is a wonderful podcast everyone should listen to.
Now, Amducious, I just got a 222 boost from him for Unrelenting. If you have a notification on yours, was that a 444 or a 222, Amducious? I think he was in the troll room here. Available at noagendastream.com.
I need to log into the thing, apparently. Not currently logged in.
So it was a 222. Now I got the boostergram.
It'll take a while to log in,
saying it was for 222. The question is whether you got it or not.
Well, if he said it was for 222 and you got 222, then clearly I didn't get bupkis.
Well, it said the boost was for that. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what I got.
I see.
Because I don't know exactly how.
Also, you're not checking your alerts either, then.
I'm not checking what?
Your alerts.
Well, I have it coming through on Telegram, but it's because it was a boostagram. You know what I'm saying? So if I do list one, let's see, on this thing, it should tell me what I've gotten in the last day. Yeah, Unrelenting 110. So that it split it.
So half went somewhere.
Well, yeah,
awesome.
I got half and half went somewhere, hopefully to you.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how the hell to log in here. So I haven't logged in like a month, so it automatically logs you out if you don't do that.
Yes, for your convenience. My Windows 10 machine does that now, which it never did before. And it's like when you, every now and then, because I rarely reboot the machine, it's like, you need to change your password. So I just put the same password in.
And it doesn't like that?
It lets me do it. So it's like,
well, that's good.
It's more convenient because it's like, I don't want to change
that. It's better than not letting you do it. Okay, so it says the node is running. So why did it not?
The node is the node. It may be there. It'll get there.
So why is it not connecting to my phone?
Maybe you've been hacked.
Pretty sure I've not been hacked.
I almost, well, not almost was. If you may have noticed on No Agenda Social, I posted
VPN. Then that's why. Okay, let me disconnect the VPN.
See that? Well, you're going to disconnect us then? Are you split tunneling?
No, just my phone is VPN.
Oh, that makes sense.
We're on, which I don't know why I didn't think it would be VPN right now. This is really fun doing like tech support shit.
Well, you're the one that's taking a long time to go look and see if it came in.
I mean,
But we thank Amducious for helping us test.
Yeah, thanks for helping us test. We may need some more testing down the line here as well.
Testing. We need somebody to send $15,000 in Satoshis just to make sure. We
need to see how that. Now, hold on. I'm actually updating my server right now, so I'm not going to get anything for a little bit.
Oh, there's even a link onto No Agenda Social. Amducious shows value for value boost. Darren O 50%, Sir Gene 50%, Podcast Index 1%. Hey, wait, that's more than 100%.
Yeah, how's that work?
I don't know.
But try giving me 100%, and then you try 50 to yourself.
See, right? That's
see how that works.
It's how this all splits up. I don't even know. But yes, it appears to be working. So that point is
my server's still down, so we'll see if it's.
I'll pump you the link in the private chat so you can see that on But that it is working, so that part is good. But I had a bit of a virus on my machine because, I was downloading some stuff.
Why would you? Oh, that's right. Because you steal things. That's right.
I test things out. And the main thing was it was trying to use PowerShell to download another script. And I posted
I
that.
just got 110 sats.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yes, that's half right there.
Damn, that's just not much.
But it was a positive test. You're like, what can I do with 110 sats?
Well, a feature that I told Adam we need to have is to have a minimum donation that can be set up in Podcasting 3.0 so that, like, you don't let somebody donate less than a certain amount.
Podcasting 3.0. You mean like...
Yeah, because he's done taking my ideas for 2.0. Now we're working on 3.0.
Under 10 cents. Don't do it. I don't want it.
I mean, like, given the current value of Bitcoin, anything under 100 sats is less. It costs more to look at than what it's worth.
It's probably true, but it fluctuates. But the whatever had gotten onto my system wanted to run PowerShell to grab another script, which Bitdefender was at least telling me, "Hey, no, this we're blocking this." So I tracked it down.
Good.
Yeah,
managed to.
So that part was good, and the some guys on No Agenda Social looked it up, and it's like, well, this looks like mainly what this is doing is looking for crypto keys from the clipboard. That was what the script it was trying to download was.
Well, that's all right then.
So it's like, yeah, I get it. And I had recently purchased a Ledger wallet to get the hell off of Coinbase.
That's right. You told me about that.
So timing was absolutely perfect because I went to go pay for ExpressVPN, which I think I'm going to use their 30-day money back return policy because I already had it once where I came back and it was still connected, but I was getting no internet. I'm like, well, my NordVPN is running out. ExpressVPN's a little bit more expensive, but they look like they're, maybe faster speeds.
Oh, I should get you my link so you can sign up for my VPN.
With Sir Gene VPN?
Yes, I have one now.
That's good. That's good.
Yes, it routes everything through Moscow. It's super safe. You bypass everything.
I like it.
Yeah.
But the
$19.95 a month.
Oh, is that all? That's a little more than most VPNs.
Well, I realize, but the safety factor is comparably higher as well.
The safety factor.
All the other ones, you know what they're going through, don't you?
It's
China.
Well, yeah. Well, a lot of them are.
All of them are.
DigiGuru says PowerShell is not your friend. Well, not when they're trying to download bad scripts. But so that was no problem. I figured where that script was. It stopped every 30 minutes. Bitdefender was like, their PowerShell is trying to do this. I tracked that down. I deleted it. No big deal. But when I went to pay the Bitcoin to the ExpressVPN, I went and loaded up my Ledger Live program on my desktop. And it's like, oh, you need a firmware update. Give us your 24 magical words. And I'm like, oh, fuck no.
No.
I'm like, no. So I knew what the case was at that point. No virus was picking this up. No malware was picking this change up. But I went through and deleted all of the program that was on there from Ledger. And I went with one of these, which I know not all these are great anywhere, but I believe this was a fairly legit program that not only uninstalls, but it looks for any little bits left over in the registry from the program that are pointing to it. Nuked all of that, reinstalled the Ledger software, and all was good. But it's like, for people who weren't in the know, I could see how very easily you would have gotten that, like, oh, you need to update your firmware. We need your 24 words, and go, oh, okay, that seems legit. So be aware, unless you are reconstituting it. If you lose your wallet and you get a new one, that's where you need those 24 words. You never need that to update the firmware or do anything like that.
I mean, you can't categorically say that.
Well, that would be very rare for that to happen. Those 24 words are the only thing standing between your crypto funds and
which
criminals.
Thing are you using for the podcast to process the stats?
I'm using Satoshis.stream, so I'm just going through a third party. I don't have my own node or anything. So, and then it just pops up. The boostograms pop up in Telegram, which is what Satoshis.stream uses.
Got it. And then it's like 50% charge for you to take money out.
No, it's only like 3 or 4%. I've done it a few times. NetNed boosted. I love unreasonably with Durwood and Surging. 1,200 sats.
Surging? That's awesome.
1,200 sats. So that you should have gotten about 600.
Wow.
I've been watching because my wife is addicted to Lego, which, I mean, as far as an addiction, that is one of the healthier ones, but actually not one of the cheaper ones. But the New Zealand version of the Lego show. Yeah, there's a Lego Masters. So it's basically all the same show where people compete. They give them different challenges and they have like all the Lego in the world they can just go and build stuff out of. And there's a US version. We watched the 4 seasons, I believe, of the Australian version. And now they just came out. They're running the New Zealand version of the show. And one of the guys on the show is named Gene. But the way the New Zealanders talk, it's Jane. I swear to God, every time it's like Jane. And that's why I was like, oh, we could just start calling Gene Jane. But that might be
Jane.
Yeah, Jane. So it sounds like Jane instead of Gene. It's a funny accent.
Who's doing that? Which show? What are they on?
Lego Masters New Zealand.
New Zealand.
There was a guy named Gene, and every time the other New Zealand guy calls him by name, it sounds like Jane. It's an accent. I get it.
I think you're just not hearing it right.
It's possible. It is possible.
Yeah. The biggest thing about New Zealand accent is they pronounce the letter E as an E.
They pronounce the letter E as an E.
Not as an E.
Oh, so it's E. So they should really be saying G.
The American word deck.
Deek would be then?
Is dick.
Dick.
I just oiled my dick.
That sounds very dirty.
That's what a New Zealander would say about putting some fresh varnish on their deck.
Yeah, Mystic says in New Zealand 10 would be teen. Hey, so I mean, you're making teens. I mean, for the pedos, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
You're a teen.
There are other subtleties to that accent, but that is the most obvious difference in pronunciation that they have, and something the Australians are making fun of all the time.
Well, see, that was the weird thing, because we watched the series of the Australians, and when this one came out, I read a comment from somebody that said, I've been having a much harder time understanding them than the Australians. And I was like, I can't really tell that much of a difference. But then again, I'm good at this. My
Australians sort of had penal colony English, where the New Zealanders had a British English with a lot of sheep.
You know, you never started the stream on YouTube.
Did I not?
I mean, I don't see it running. Doesn't really matter.
Let's go live. So people know that we are live and we are ready to go.
Welcome to Unrelenting.
Welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Yes, I'm doing well, Jane.
I'm glad you're doing well.
But I was happy.
Anything new and exciting in your neck of the woods?
I was happy not to lose all my crypto. And I would say that people have to be aware. Never give that 24-word phrase out because it's bad. It is bad.
Well, and better yet, just don't do crypto. That would be a good thing.
No, we've heard crypto is going to save the world.
No, crypto is devalued to like half of what it used to be, pretty much across the board. And after watching a few videos of the experts talking about it, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, it's going down again. I mean, it's been kind of bouncing around.
It's not going to go up until the dollar goes back up, which will be in about 4 years.
Well, after Joe Biden is out of office, and there's been about 2 years worth of work to resurrect an economy that has been, well, beaten to a pulp, left for dead. And, but you know, there's so much stuff going on in the world here. Joe Biden, he's going to come for your guns now.
Well, he's coming for the guns and he's going to ship them to Ukraine.
Well, right, because that's what we need. We need
he's going to kill two birds with one stone because we don't need guns in America because only Nazis have guns here.
Right. Well, because guns are only to hurt
they
people.
They need all the guns to go kill Putin in Ukraine. So let's just kill two birds with one stone and ship them all the guns.
I've never understood the argument that guns aren't needed and that guns are only there to commit crimes. Every female in the country should be up in arms, literally making the case for defense. Because, as a guy, we're both advantaged. Me as a guy that's 6'6", and
I don't know. I think most females can outrun both of us.
Well, that's true. That is absolutely true.
Advantage.
That can definitely outrun, no question about it. And that's my biggest issue. Just to take a sidetrack, watching the series FBI, which otherwise I think is a halfway decent, if not very formulaic series.
I've not seen that TV show.
I like Missy Paragerm. I've always liked her. Now, she was in Reaper back in the day, was in Rookie Blue, which was another decent cop show that I think was made up in Canada.
Really?
Yeah. But with this FBI, it's just named FBI. So, the FBI, somebody at the FBI, although they have bigger problems right now with their reputation, but anybody watching the show, we should maybe give them a little bit of advice, because in every episode, it seems, they're walking down a street, they see the suspect they're looking for. Rather than getting within arm's length to announce themselves, they announce themselves when they're a football field away. And of course, they all run every damn time.
Well, that makes sense.
It's I understand they want that scene, and that's part of the formula, but it just it drives me nuts, because it's if you really want to grab this person, get up close to them, grab them and say, FBI, federal agent, not, hey, over there, we're the FBI. And then they run.
Well, how else would you have a chase scene if that didn't happen?
You could do that now and then, but let's make it a guessing game whether that's going to happen. Not every damn time. It annoys me. But Biden wants to return to the 1994 assault weapons ban.
Yes.
And I looked up the stats, and the people that study these things on both sides of the aisle, after this whole thing was in place for however many years it was in place, it expired under George W. Bush, said that didn't really do anything. So
it raised the price of guns.
But it didn't do anything. Okay, you're right. It didn't do anything to stop the crime, but you're absolutely right. I keep
it wasn't
forgetting.
meant to stop crime. It was meant to punish conservatives.
True. That's absolutely right. It's another nudging. We're not going to make them illegal. We're just going to make it so it's very inconvenient for you to do this thing we don't want you to do, like driving your car. You don't think the gas prices right now are because of that?
Dangerous objects that we really should rethink the whole concept of cars.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
if everybody would
get rid of guns,
had an electric scooter, that would be much safer. And you could have more people on the road.
Once you get rid of guns, the car is probably the next most dangerous thing. Really, the car is probably more dangerous than a
gun. A lot more people die in car homicides than gun homicides.
And that's the other thing with guns. I saw a stat the other night, and it was way over 50% of the people that die because of firearms in this country are suicides. Do you really think if you get the guns out of those people's hands that they're not going to kill themselves? Come on. That's not the problem. It's a mental health problem there.
It is.
And you should really remove the suicides from the stats when you're talking about crime.
And you should really remove anyone that uses any weapon to commit a crime from just committing that crime and put it in the category of people that have mental problems.
Yes. And understand that most people that are committing these types of crimes are on pharmaceuticals to change their brain chemistry. They have a issue. That's the underlying thing, which you take away one tool that doesn't change what they're going to do. It may make them go down a different route, but they're going to get down that route. The other stuff on the list that Biden wanted was a toughening or expansion on background checks. To be fair, I don't really know what this system does. I mean, I know when I went to buy my guns that you had to wait.
You 70 have more than one?
Sure. Is that bad?
Well, I don't know. Just how much of a criminal are you?
I've never committed a crime. I mean, not with a gun anyway.
Well, now that somebody knows about it, I mean, we know you commit crimes all the time. Otherwise, your computer wouldn't have viruses.
Exactly. But now I've got 2 9mm, and the wife's got a 9mm, and there's a 22 we got. So, they're all in the office where I do the podcast, just in case, somebody comes in to try to stop the unrelenting stream.
Well,
but
that probably happens frequently.
I don't know what they mean by expansion of background checks, because this is one area.
Well, they'd like to have, more information about you if you buy a gun. Like they'd like to have access to all your
browser history. Right.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to need you to bring in your browser history when you want to get a firearm.
Yeah, just bring them in somebody else's.
I mean, voting records would be very handy, I think.
Right.
That'd be worthwhile having.
It's interesting. So I want more details there, because this is one area where some people that are really on the conservative side balk at the background checks. But I think that is a somewhat legitimate thing to look at, because there are laws which say if you're a felon, you can't own firearms.
Correct.
So running a background check is needed at the very least to make sure that the person coming in isn't a felon. So I have no problem. It doesn't
actually check to see if you're a felon.
No problem with that.
Yeah. The background check's not going to tell you that, though.
Well, that should be a part of what that is looking up.
Well, that costs money, though.
Doesn't everything cost money? That's they add this to the tax.
All they're going to check on is to make sure you're not on the no-fly list.
Because you wouldn't want to bring a gun on an airplane.
Well, if you're on a no-fly list, it means some government agency decided that you shouldn't be flying, and having a gun is a lot more dangerous than flying.
Another thing on the list, raising the age limit from 18 to 21. And that one, I think, opens up for a bunch of interesting debate, because of the fact that, we already have crazy stuff like, if you can't buy a beer until you're 21.
Which is illegal, but okay.
This is the way the system currently is. So, a lot of this stuff should be able to be fought, but it never is. And it's very disconcerting, because there's a lot of people on the left who are the same ones that say, think of the children, are the ones that are like pointing to 15-year-olds saying, well, they should be able to vote and they should be able to.
Right. So they should be able to vote, just not drink or buy firearms.
Right. So we need a steadying line. We need to figure out what is the line we want as an adult, in which we want to hold somebody as a child. And we need to, stick to that across all of the things. I don't like the varying, you could do this, but you can't do this. You can do this, but you can't do this. With that said, did you see the story, or if you heard this week's Random Thoughts, the case
I have not, no.
of Daniel Marquez, the 10-year-old Florida boy that was arrested for, what all of the story showed was threatening to shoot up his school.
Ooh.
And he's still being held. They ordered him to be held for 3 weeks. This is a 10-year-old, and I point this out in Random Thoughts, which I think this week's was a fantastic episode. They all are. But I thought this was pretty good in pointing out the fact that I am still learning new stuff about this story today, which is 3 days later. And I had to read 20 plus stories to get the details in the first place on this case, because most journalisming just said, he texted a message that he was threatening to shoot up his school. And I was thinking, how do you text somebody to a threat? Is there is there a text number at the school that you?
I think he must have texted the government.
Right. No, he texted a friend.
Oh. And a friend then told the government.
Yes. Well, the friend's father. And again, this is a case why you don't give your 10-year-old a cell phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's how this went. Yeah, but here's
you used to draw pictures of guns when you were a 10-year-old, I would imagine.
Probably. I mean, you wanted to be the Lone Ranger. So, I mean.
And you probably hated somebody in your school when you were 10 years old.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody, right?
Uh-huh.
It was
Knew it.
Really maladjusted kid,
You just admitted you actually killed somebody, didn't you?
I was dressing all in black. I was listening to, death metal.
Did you have long hair?
Never, no.
Oh.
And I didn't really start listening to heavy metal until I was like 30. So, I mean, it was never my, the whole doom and gloom thing. Not really a part of that. But now, even the story, which, I applauded myself on Random Thoughts for finding what was actually texted. And according to the story, it was, well, he first texted a message saying, I scammed some friend of mine with a load of, and he showed a picture of a bunch of cash, which was just found on Google Images. Then it was, I bought these, and it was a picture of 4 AR-15s, which, a 10-year-old maybe can handle one AR-15. Don't think they can use 4 at a time. But beyond that, the next message was something like excited about Water Day, or just can't wait for Water Day, which I guess is the last day of school at their particular school, their elementary school, has, all water fun. So I don't know, water fights, whatever they're doing, that Water Day was the final day of school.
Okay.
What I didn't find out until the article today, which was in the Daily Mail, not a great journalisming source.
No.
But the one thing that was pointed out was this was a text thread, and the can't wait for Water Day text came a decent amount of time after the picture of the gun. So it wasn't like these were in fast succession messages. And that changes everything. That changes everything. And they're holding this kid for 21 days, 10 years old. This is the knee-jerk reaction kind of bullshit that really bothers me. It's like this was an idiot 10-year-old making a joke.
Compiled this bullshit based on multiple messages.
Yes. And it's, again, I can understand how you could make the case that it was a joke about a school shooting. If all of those messages were together. But if there's even 5 or 10 minutes between the picture of the gun, and then it's like, well, we text back and forth. It's like, they're not one concurrent thing. You're going back and forth between different topics. And nowhere in there was.
Or texting pictures of guns. I mean, that happens a lot with us too.
Yeah, but there's nowhere in there is, I'm going to shoot up the school. It was, I'm excited about the last day of school, was basically the message. Because it came after the picture of guns in the thread. Again, timing is everything. Context is everything. And this is a conservative sheriff, it seems, that is, his whole thing that he ran on seemed to be fake, crime, fake threats will lead to real consequences. And I think they're picking the 10-year-old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to be the whipping boy. And I don't know. It is very worrisome that this kind of stuff is going on here. This seems to me, from at least the story that's out there, and maybe there's even yet more that we don't know, but it seems like the story here is it was a 10-year-old being stupid, making a joke, which we think we all did back when we were 10. We just didn't have the internet for everything to be recorded.
Right.
And this is why, really, I rail on this all the time, but parents, your kids with the devices, you could hurt them in so many different ways. And you're seeing that here, that having the device, they made a stupid joke.
The phone exactly like blaming the gun for shooting.
No,
should be blaming the kid and the parents rather than the device.
And I do blame the kid and the parents. I'm just saying the device is very useful for people that know how to use it, like a gun, but giving it to a 10-year-old, probably not a good idea.
So you are blaming the parents?
Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, listen to Random Thoughts. That is, as a guy who doesn't have kids, I find it to be fun to just blame the parents. And I know I really have not.
It is always the parents' fault in the end.
Well, in this kind of a case, I think there is a lot to be said about that. And we noticed that with the increase in violent crimes, school shootings, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing that, as we talked about, I think in the last episode, you're seeing that as the invent of the internet, more so the devices, the phones that people carry around with them. We're seeing more mental illness. We've, I think, talked about the amount of girls that are presenting, young teenage girls, especially presenting with Tourette's-like symptoms. And they're blaming it on the TikToks and the Instas, the people that are studying this, that this is some kind of reaction to the constant barrage of social media, which is really interesting. But again, if your kid doesn't have the device, they're not going to be exposed to that. And one of the things you brought up, there was a story on the fact that, let's see, where did I have it here? You know, this is... Yes, this was from bearingarms.com. So, okay, we understand this is a bias source for guns, but they had a study which shows having armed teachers save lives.
Of course it does.
You know, that was your point exactly. And they said it doesn't even have to be every teacher. They said if 5 to 10% of teachers in a school had a, concealed carry and they were trained, that was just as good as having a full-time armed security guard on the premises.
Probably better because the teachers are actually in the classroom,
right?
Whereas the armed security guard is mostly running away from the classroom to not get shot.
Well, you're right, because he's in the hallway. So if you don't catch somebody in the hallway, then you're right. You would have to actually go to a room.
I'm not aware, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not aware of a single school shooting where the security guard who is paid by the district had any impact whatsoever on the shooter, whether they killed him or toppled him or did anything to him. Because the first thing these security guards making $25 an hour are going to do is, I'm not getting killed for this.
Right. You'll go look for another job later.
Happens. Yeah. I mean, they're fine at sitting there and harassing the students about their, hall pass.
Well, I think that's hall monitors. I think that's a little different than
that's what they do these days.
I don't doubt
hall
it.
Monitors have guns now, but they're certainly not going to risk physical harm to themselves simply to prevent a shooting from happening in that school. It's not going to happen.
No. And an interesting poll by the Trafalgar Group, who is one that actually seems to be fairly legit when it comes to polling, because polling could be all over the place.
Well, Poland.
Yeah, well, you can't trust anybody over in Poland.
No. Definitely not developers.
They did a poll and found that about 60% of voters believe the absence of armed school staff members makes schools more dangerous. Only 30% disagreeing. Mm-hmm. So this seems to be well into being the majority of people in this country want to see armed school staff members.
Yeah, I guess my Facebook ads worked well.
You doing a good job.
Yeah.
You are a marketing genius if you're making this happen.
I am a marketing genius. I will admit to that myself. But it doesn't take much. On Facebook, there's a little checkbox. Just says, are you Russian? And if you answer yes, then they charge you 100 times less than the Americans. And so like $10,000 worth of ads will flip a whole election.
Well, according to the left, that's true.
Then it must be true.
In this article on bearingarms.com, which again, I understand, biased for guns, had a quote from Jordan Armstrong, a teacher for 15 years in Michigan, Jourden, said, quote, I went to college to become a teacher, not a law enforcement officer. Common sense gun reform is an absolutely necessary component to curbing this uniquely American problem. Common sense gun reform. I mean, you know what? When the left says common sense gun reform, they are basically saying,
remove all the guns.
Yes, make all the guns disappear.
Yes.
from society.
Common sense gun reform.
That's common sense. Not one of them can tell you how to make it happen.
No. Well, you confiscate them. What do you mean? They can tell you that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, sure. Just go confiscate them. Yeah. You want that job?
Yeah. Well, clearly the founding fathers that wrote these silly laws didn't mean the kind of guns that people have today. When they said guns, they meant like single shot flint load rifles.
Uh-huh.
Sure. In fact, not even rifles, like smoothbore guns with 1-inch caliber balls in them that would take you about a minute and a half to load. That's the kind of guns they were referring to. And besides, guns aren't for people, they're for militias. Everybody knows that.
Dumbass Joe Biden once again said, and he said this like a month or two ago, because I think we talked about it. I know I talked about it with Larry over on PlanetRage.show.
I don't hear anything when you guys talk.
I know we all talked in such a low.
Sounds like I did order register. A base speaker though. Once that comes in, maybe I'll be able to listen to you.
You could tune it in.
But otherwise everything is like below the high pass filter.
A couple of months ago, and he said it again this week, Joe Biden said, you couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was ratified. And that's bullshit. That's utter bullshit. You could, in fact, buy a cannon. There were no laws on the books.
For sale in the general store. Yeah,
there was nothing on the books that said you couldn't have a cannon. But this idiot keeps saying the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, you could. And now, he's talking about, again, magazines and calibers of guns.
Mm-hmm.
Because, this is, again, the whole concept of, if you give somebody a foot, they'll take a yard. You don't think if the Democrats, the left, the radicals can get 9mm off the shelves that they're not going for 22s next? It'll be like, 22s still kill people. That's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
This teacher also said, quote, I'm scared. My kids are scared, and I'm ready to walk away from a job I love because I feel absolutely powerless. No, you're not powerless.
Because he's a wimp.
Yeah.
He's a beta.
Or maybe a woman. I don't know. Jordan, Jourden.
I can't believe people are sending their children, their future generations.
I think Jordan's a woman. I could be wrong. Jourden.
Beta, limp men that shouldn't even be called men.
And this may be a woman, but it's like, you're not absolutely powerless. If you had a gun, you would be powerful.
Well, no woman is going to say she's powerless. That can't be a woman. It's got to be a man.
Okay, that may be true.
Yeah. Everybody knows women are fierce and strong.
They may actually have, ironically, more balls than the men right now.
I don't think that's even ironically, because a lot of women are actually, they have balls. So, what are you implying?
I'm not implying anything. I don't want to misgender. I don't want to, want to get in any of those problems. But it would seem to make sense.
Some women have balls. Other women's, they don't have balls. But
some keep yours in their purse. I don't know. With their gun, with their little cute 9mm.
I would say
pink.
It is pretty fun to
with rhinestones.
To just kind of completely play the whatchamacallit, the liberal talking point.
Oh, you want to take that side?
Robot. Well, I'm enjoying doing it, man. It's kind of fun.
People look at you like
I've heard them so many times now that
do they
it's
ever make
really
sense?
not hard to just spit them out there.
They're talking.
They don't have to make sense. You just have to repeat them.
True. With conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the only common sense gun control is to remove the country of all guns. And as I kind of, you get to the point to where the only way to make the argument then is go, okay, I may agree with you, but first tell me how you're going to do that. And you can't just be like, well, they'll be illegal, so of course they'll have to all be turned in. It's like, no, there's more guns, I think, in the country than there are people.
Well, Canada just did it.
Well, yeah.
See, that's a good example for what the U.S. ought to be doing.
But you noticed one thing about Canada.
Let the fearless leader just decide that guns are now bad, and then all Canadians will turn in their guns. That's how it works.
Little Justin. But no, didn't you see? There's a grandfathering. So if you own a gun, you don't have to turn it in, which makes this law
that's just
bullshit.
For now. That's a way for them to... Because if you want to grandfather a gun, you have to register it. If you don't want to grandfather it, then you just turn it in.
Or you forget that it's in the basement.
Well, if you don't register it and you're caught with a gun, that's a life sentence, I believe, in Canada.
Well,
I mean, if they had the death penalty, that would probably be it right there.
That's the thing with gun control and gun crimes in the United States. If they would only prosecute people that commit crimes with guns and put them away, you would lower the crime rate.
But they do prosecute people. The problem is there's just not all that many white people committing crimes with guns.
Well, no, there's not. And that is what's inconvenient for them, because there's right now justice is not colorblind. Justice is looking at minorities in this country. If you're a black or a brown person,
I think you misunderstand the definition of the word colorblind. Colorblind actually means you give preferential treatment to minorities.
Oh, is that what it is? That's okay.
Yes.
That's
Have you not kept up on your new dictionary definitions for this year?
I haven't gotten my new dictionary, my updated Biden dictionary.
Well, that's the problem right there.
That is it. That is absolutely it.
The Department of Truth has gone through and made sure that dictionaries reflect the proper definitions of words as they're currently understood by the people that matter.
Minute by minute. They're talking about red flag laws again,
for
too.
Sure. Yeah.
The red flag laws, which is basically, you have a neighbor with a gun. Well, if you're concerned about that, call us up.
Yeah.
We'll
go see if there's something that we can catch him doing that'll result in him going to prison for the rest of his life.
Yes. I mean, again, if somebody commits a crime with a gun, I am all for throwing the book at him.
Yeah.
That would seem to make the most sense, which is keep the guns in the hands of the law-abiding citizen.
Anybody that misgenders another person really should not have the ability to carry a gun.
Oh, exactly, because that is a horrible hate crime.
That's a crime. Absolutely. In Canada, it is. Absolutely.
Not only a crime, it's a hate crime, which makes them even worse.
It is a hate crime, yes, because crimes mostly are determined by the group that they're targeting. See, that's the biggest differentiating factor as far as crimes are concerned.
People rarely get shot with love. Just saying.
Well, and I don't know that you want to encourage shootings that way, but I guess you're free to do so until you get caught.
The other one on this list of Biden's things of, things they were going to do to make the whole gun thing better. Enact safe storage laws and red flag laws. So this whole safe storage law, again, this is a question of how are you going to police this? Like, okay, wait a minute, Gene, you can own that 9mm, but it has to be locked up when it's in your home in a proper,
Yes, and you have to throw away the combination. That's the best kind of lockup of a gun that exists.
It's the only safe way, but it's like, there's no way to monitor this.
You shouldn't be able to give a criminal your combination if they're holding a gun to your head.
And if you're a woman that lives in a dangerous area, it doesn't even matter, I guess, because anything can happen anywhere, but you're home alone. Somebody's breaking into your house, and it takes you 10 minutes to get your gun out of its locked safe. But it doesn't matter
because you can still get an abortion, so it doesn't really matter if somebody comes into your home.
Well, not only can you, they encourage you to.
Well, you should get an abortion. That's a good point.
It's the only way to be a good American, according to the left.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's not had an abortion, except for the, women that are not potentially pregnant people that have balls, but other than those people, if you haven't had an abortion, then clearly you're not truly a woman.
If you're a man that's had an abortion, reach out to us now.
Yes, and there are plenty of men that have had abortions.
The other thing they want is repeal the immunity for gun manufacturers, which to me,
because the manufacturers are ultimately the ones responsible for the use of their tools.
Exactly. Yeah. Which makes zero
that only
sense.
Makes sense to me.
Which we should go every time somebody drives a car through.
Well, you don't think Tesla's liable if their car hits somebody and kills them?
Self-driving, you can make a case for.
Well, how's that different from a gun? It's exactly the same thing.
Well, the gun's not self-shooting. Yeah,
sure it is. You're holding it in your hand, just like you're holding the wheel of the Tesla, but it's taking care of the shooting for you.
If you have a gun that just sits on a shelf and starts firing automatically, that's a self-shooting gun.
Well, but that's like having a Tesla in your garage that just decides to blow itself up.
Well, they do that, actually. There's been other cars that do that.
I guess the gun is pretty dangerous, isn't it, then?
Just, starting, there's been a bunch of cars, even before the electric ones, that accidentally start on fire in the garage.
Yeah.
I think there was a Hyundai
combustion
that was like, oh, don't park your car in your garage until you get this fixed. Wait, just boom, gone. Not good.
Yeah.
But immunity for tools that are made. It's like, did I really have to question? Okay, and then let's pretend we have the utopia and we make all guns disappear. Then, of course, you have to hold automakers responsible when people are intentionally run down. You have to hold Louisville Slugger responsible.
I mean, either or.
When somebody gets beaten with a bat.
Right. Unless there was a minority doing the beating, in which case you don't really need to.
Right. Well, then it's double secret probation and you don't talk about it.
Yeah. Unlike those extremists on January the 6th who need to stay in jail forever.
Well, there's a 10-year-old kid in juvie for 21 days for texting a friend. So, I mean, this is America, baby.
It is. And it's a good lesson for the kid's parents.
Yes. Don't give your kid a phone.
Well, that's not really the lesson, but okay.
Well, it should be, because, again, you can make any stupid joke you want when you're one-on-one.
Clearly, this so-called kid is crying out for help because he's feeling of a different gender at this point in his life.
Maybe. Young
Why
Daniel
else
Marquez.
would he threaten any kind of harm to anyone other than feeling depressed about his gender?
He didn't. He's an honor student. That was the just funny thing on the Daily Mail. Obviously, the family gave the Daily Mail images of like all the awards the kid won, like for all the achievements, honor roll,
That's
all this.
That's just a cry for help. That's all that is.
Yes, doing good in school is obviously a cry for help.
No normal kid would be doing good in school.
And, especially a young Latino. I mean, that just would never happen. He can't just be a well-adjusted student who made a joke.
You didn't say Latino.
Well, I told his name's Dan Marquez. I mean, I thought that would speak for itself.
Well, I'm not being racist here. You are. But,
no, it's not racist to understand nationalities.
When people hear O'Neill, then clearly there's been some kind of mistake here.
When people hear O'Neill, they're like, okay, Irish. When people hear Nevtuliev, they're like, oh, yeah, Russian.
They have no idea what Nevtuliev means.
Right, most people are like that. Wait, there's too many letters.
What is that? Is that German or Australian or what is that?
Australian. Although I don't know. What is an Australian name? I don't think they really exist.
No, they usually just have first names. They don't really have the.
It's better.
When you're in prison, they don't really track your last names.
They give you numbers.
Yeah.
We're all going to have barcodes. All going to have barcodes, man.
Well, as long as that keeps track of the guns, I guess. That's the important part.
Right. Then there was another story also in Florida of a 10-year-old girl that shot a guy her mom was having a fight with. And the story goes...
Latino or not? Let's just clear this up before we get any further.
Black.
The guy was black or the girl was black?
Both. Everybody involved in this seems to be black.
Black on black crime is not technically crime.
It's not reported anyway.
It's not reported because it isn't crime.
Hence Chicago. Crime free.
Mm-hmm. That's what the mayor says.
Now, this is an interesting case in the fact that it appears this was a fight at a Memorial Day barbecue. Don't know what the guy did, but the woman slaps him, and then the guy decks her. She gives the kid a bag then with the gun. The kid takes the gun out and shoots the guy.
Okay, so there's all kinds of issues there. But again, since this was a black girl...
Omega Project wants to know what color the gun is. I don't know. They didn't say.
What color the gun is?
They're usually black.
It was a white gun.
Yeah.
So does that make it? Well, no, because that is why the manufacturer is liable.
Because the gun was black, or maybe white gun.
No, because clearly the girl did nothing wrong, and clearly the man that was teaching his hoe to behave better did nothing wrong. And so who here is at fault other than the gun manufacturer?
The mother was the one arrested.
Well, that's just because Florida is just a bunch of Nazis, isn't they?
Hey, I'm not saying that. I think they're freedom-loving people.
Yeah, freedom-loving Nazis that have fly Confederate flags all day long.
Is that going on in Florida?
Well, it's not going on here in California, that's for sure.
You're in California today?
I mean, Austin, sorry. I mean, that's kind of the same thing.
They've kind of moved. It's kind of like a little, when you go into a country's embassy.
Yeah, no, Austin is where the Californian takeover of Texas is happening.
So it's like an embassy. You go which is why Adam Curry always says re-entering the state of Texas when you leave Austin. Is Austin like an embassy for like California? So it is like technically California land now?
It is. It's governed by Californians, that's for sure. And most of the cars have California license plates here, so I don't see how it's not.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you have to leave the borders of Austin. The Austin borderland, it's a funny story actually, in fact, because the Austin borderlands in Ukrainian are called Ukraine.
That is the borderland.
Yeah. Of Austin.
You call it borderland.
Once you cross over the Ukraine of Austin, then you're in Texas.
Sure. I mean, I don't know what goes on out there in Texas, man.
I don't either, because I don't live in Texas anymore. I live in Austin.
But you can see it if you look really carefully.
It's a ways out. I'm literally like a mile from downtown.
So you're saying the reach is growing. It is encroaching on more and more land. It is spreading like a cancer.
Yeah, and then the housing market is just insane. Everything is doubling like every 6 months in price.
Until it's not. Except for Bitcoin, that's all going down. The housing market, I mean, I guess if you had all your money...
I'll tell you when it's going to stop. It will stop doubling every 6 months when an identical house in San Francisco costs less money.
And I think you may get there with all the people leaving.
I think we're about 18 months away.
And then the turntables.
And Tesla, now that they've moved here to Austin, with their factory is just 2 miles down the road from my house. Musk just announced today there's going to be a 10% layoff at Tesla.
How dare he?
I know, right? I mean, doesn't he know that those jobs are for those people, not for him?
Well, and they need money. And
the mistake he made, of course, is he wanted to leave California. Well, little did he realize that he built the factory in California. Once again, it just happens to be a part of California surrounded by Texas.
I guess he got snookered then.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, I guess he was listening to all the stories about Texas and
Texas being free.
Yeah, or something. But then he didn't realize Austin wasn't Texas.
I mean, there's a lot of guns in Texas. I mean, that's a gun-loving state.
It is a gun-loving state. There's definitely a lot of guns in Texas. Even Austin has guns, just not nearly as many as there used to be.
Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Yeah. I think that we're down to 2 gun stores in Austin now.
Well, I mean, that's all you need when everybody's already
about
armed.
7 when I moved here.
Well, they're bad business.
Mm-hmm.
They're being edged out.
Yeah, because we needed new coffee shops to be put up instead.
You needed a Starbucks at every street corner.
Yeah, no, we already had those. No, we needed to add a bunch of other coffee shops.
Don't buy bullets. Buy lattes.
Lattes don't kill people. Well, they kind of do. I mean, you end up getting a heart attack. But,
everything kills people.
Yeah.
And, I have a conspiracy theory that there is a traitor.
Trader Joe's just went there the other day.
No, not Trader Joe's.
Oh.
There is a mole. There is a interloper in the Bill O'Reilly news staff. I believe there's somebody working for him, intentionally trying to make him look stupid.
I don't think they have to try that hard.
I mean, maybe not. I don't
know. There's already plenty of videos of him looking stupid back when he was on Fox.
Oh, he was a legend. He was the highest rated guy, so he was doing something right.
He was raping women left and right.
Wow. Gene at sirgene.com. Send all libel paperwork to that address.
No, I've watched it on TV.
You mean YouTube? You never watch TV, you watch YouTube.
Well, fair enough. But nonetheless, I saw it.
If it's not on YouTube, You didn't see
and
it.
there's videos of him, addressing women.
There is a story which I covered briefly on Random Thoughts the same day. And I do love this. This actually warms my heart when I do a Random Thoughts and cover a story that O'Reilly hits that night. Because it's like, I beat you.
Mm-hmm.
I got it.
You got the scoop.
Yes. And I mentioned a study out of China which talked about people, and I don't understand, it was a study out of China, but they were following people that lived in the UK that said if you drank coffee, all other things considered, you were like 21% less likely to die of anything than people that didn't drink coffee. And I get these things are bullshit. But I thought it was an interesting study. I thought it was kind of a joke thing, but Bill covered it. But he is a guy that has been very anti-sugar over the last couple of years. I agree.
Sugar is not good for you.
I agree. He's very much on board in the sugar is poison and getting that out of your diet is a good thing. And I agree with him 100% on that. Because I saw a huge change when it was like, well, yeah, cut out as much of the white bread, cut out all of the starches, cut out don't be adding sugar to anything, which, you pointed out a bunch of good alternatives for artificial sweeteners.
Yeah, like lemons.
Yeah, that's not sweet. But in this case, this same study, the main kicker, if you will, to this study, and I'm sitting here when I'm watching Bill covering this, because the kicker of the study was, yeah, if you drink unsweetened coffee, you're 21% less likely to die. If you sweeten it with sugar, you were like 31% less likely to die, which I thought was a very weird. Like,
that makes no sense.
Right. I agree.
Versus what? What do you mean? 21% versus what?
It was.
What's the control? People that
don't drink
coffee
are the one,
but have mental problems.
Kind of.
That's the control group.
They were looking at it with people who didn't drink coffee, people who did and had it unsweetened, and people who did and sweetened it with sugar. Those were their three groups that they were comparing, allegedly. Again, not sure how you do that. Understand there's a bunch of other factors.
So basically, they're not looking at any kind of causal relationships. They're
right.
They're purely looking at unrelated relationships.
Correct, because there's so many environmental
people
factors.
With blue eyes die less frequently than people with brown eyes.
Right.
You know that's a fact.
Well, there's less people with blue eyes.
Well, that's why, you see. But now you're extrapolating data which didn't exist in the study. And
I have green eyes, so I mean, I'm even in a more minority, which I mean, really, that's a big minority, green eyes. But
that's pretty big minority, but not from whence your relatives come from.
See, now in this,
Spain?
I was just agreeing in Mexican.
In Mexican.
See,
you're such a racist.
And no, using a word, does that make me racist now too?
Why are you appropriating somebody else's culture? Does your culture not give you enough words to use?
No, they don't. But it's like, you'll notice the thing that people like is you trying to communicate with their language. That was the way I got many autographs.
Literally nobody likes that.
No, dude, I'm telling the Japanese people do. You want to make somebody Japanese?
The Japanese people are just polite. Behind your back, they're making fun of the Jolly Green Giant.
They are super polite. I will give them that. But I mean, anytime you run across, when I ran across a Japanese baseball player, including the great Hideki Matsui, Daisuke Matsuzaka, a couple harder autographs to get. You throw a few words of Japanese out there, and they
just want to get rid of you. I know.
No, that is not the way it is. But so that, that is just the case there. But back to Bill, the great Bill O'Reilly. So when I'm watching him starting into this story, I'm like, oh, how's he gonna handle this sugar thing? Because he's been telling us sugar's bad. And this study that you're quoting says you have less of a chance to die if you put sugar in your coffee. And he just didn't mention it. And I'm so disappointed by that. I am so disappointed.
Yeah, you're not actually less inclined to die. It's just that of the people in the study,
right,
the people that were hogging the coffee and sugar managed to outlive others. Did they even say anything about their ages at all or not? Were they comparing 90-year-olds who don't drink coffee to 25-year-olds who do?
Yeah, if you're a 16-year-old that drinks coffee with sugar compared to a 90-year-old who doesn't.
Most people in their 70s that I know no longer drink coffee.
Really? That's weird. My parents do.
I stopped drinking coffee at 92.
Well, see there, you were doing it for health reasons, though.
It just doesn't make me feel good anymore.
I mean, you still consume a fresh carcass at least once a day of, a little.
Fair enough.
What do you call those things? Vampire bats?
No, I don't eat bats. Bats are very healthy animals. We have tons of bats here. I've caught bats and fed them and stuff.
There was a story that there are rabid bats in our county here, and I'm just like,
yeah, that's
great.
bullshit. There's no such thing. I'm just going to call bullshit on that.
As bats or as rabid bats?
There's no such thing as rabid bats.
Rabies is not a thing.
No, rabies is not something that bats have.
This is something I did not know.
Yeah, that's totally true. Now in Austin, the bat population happens to be well over 1 million bats.
This is totally true. This is right under Gene Neftuliev.
It is absolutely incontrovertibly true that it's an old wives' tale that people have been saying bats have rabies. That's just a way to scare children. That's all that is. You know who does have rabies? Dogs.
Just give them a phone.
Most dogs have rabies.
And sit them inside by themselves.
Not really aware of it until they bite you.
Well, yeah, but then you got to get all the shots, and they're not fun. I've never had
they're
them,
not fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If people realize that how many dogs actually have rabies, like they're carrying that particular virus, they would not get dogs.
What percentage of dogs carry this?
It's an unusually high percentage compared to bats.
Interesting.
Yes. There's studies out there. Just look, don't be lazy. Just Google.
Google. I don't trust Google. I don't trust anybody.
Yes. Well, that's what a lazy person would say.
Oh, Billy Moans of a Walk Through the Mind podcast said, don't worry, they have an mRNA shot for rabies.
Oh, well, thank God then, because then we can administer those to all the dogs that have rabies, not to the bats, which don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm telling you, I cringe.
Next thing, they're going to start telling us that honeybees have diabetes.
With all of this, you need to look, like with this coffee study, you need to know who is being looked at. You need to know the age range. You need to know genetics. I cringe still when I see constantly on No Agenda Social, every heart attack or stroke, people pointing to the vaccine. Like, yes, the vaccine causes that.
The main cause of it.
The virus also causes that. And
I don't believe that people used to have those until the mRNA vaccines came out. I can't even keep a straight face. God damn it.
Like, what is this? What is this heart attack and stroke you speak of? I've never heard of these before. It's like, yeah, I mean, I remember this. I was going back to the biggest story I remember was, what was the guy's name? Jim Fixx, the guy who wrote a bunch of books on running and health.
Mm-hmm.
And then he dropped dead of a heart attack at like 30 something. And he was like skinny, ran however many miles a day.
It's because he just took that mRNA right into his arm and just healed over.
Way back in the 70s or 80s, whenever that was.
That's when Fauci was its most prominent tester back then. Yes.
But you need to look at the whole.
That was back where they were trying to figure out mRNA, and then Fauci was infecting people with AIDS.
And he didn't do really well.
Well, he did pretty good with AIDS.
Yeah, I mean, put it on the top.
Yeah, he took out a bunch of people I knew.
But you have to look at the whole of everything. And that's where I get annoyed. It's like, people, come on. Don't be so laser focused. Yes, I'm agreeing with you that the vaccines can definitely be dangerous. I believe 100% that they're causing heart issues and stroke issues. But the reason for that is because of what your body is doing in response to the vaccine, which medical science, maybe they're not 100% there, but what your body is trying to do when you get a vaccine is give a reaction similar to when you get the virus. So maybe you should
why
ask
bother
yourself,
having the virus when you could just give vaccines to everybody?
Well, yeah, if the vaccine came first, that would be easy.
Yeah.
But it's like,
so
let's
apparently
also
somebody
just admit,
did some Googling and found that I was correct.
Let's also just admit that the virus also is having an effect on heart attacks, strokes, and all of those things. And somebody Googled your bat
fine. I don't really care. Somebody did some research here and found that 0.05% of bats are thought to carry the rabies.
Whoa, 0.05?
0.05% compared to 0.99% of dogs.
No. Wait, that seems like that would be more dogs.
No, it's a study. No, this is factual info coming from the Googles or the Bings, one or the other.
From the Google Bigs. I want to start a site called the Google Bin.
I mean, look, I can recall these facts, just tip my tongue. But if somebody really has to go and check, I go ahead and encourage you to do that, because all you're going to do is find that I'm right.
Every time you can prove Gene factually wrong, he will give you 5,000 Satoshis. You're not backing this offer up, are you? If you can prove.
I'm sorry. I had some connectivity issues. Go ahead. What were you saying now?
If you can prove Sir Gene wrong, he will provide you with 5,000 Satoshis for every.
You mean you will provide them?
No, you will.
Why would I provide anybody with anything?
Certainly not coming out of the show's coffers. I don't want to be broke.
No, yes. Yeah, speaking of show coffers, we need to do a little calculation to calculate the coffer amounts from those $5 donations for the last 6 months.
You told people not to donate.
Exactly.
You opted out.
Well, I opted out of having people donate. I certainly didn't opt out of getting my half of those.
Of the half of the non-donations?
$5 coming in for 6 months is still, $30?
It is. It is. I think we need to put together a no agenda donation. Get a commercial.
Yeah, I think you should.
Unrelenting.show.
I just did a no agenda commercial for myself.
I know. So we need to
Actually, I didn't do it for anybody. I forgot to plug either one of the shows I'm on.
You're so bad at marketing.
Because most of the time when I donate to No Agenda, it's at like 3 a.m. before I fall asleep. And I should send them money.
This is when people make really bad decisions. Never donate at 3 a.m.
That's the only time that I'm going to be willing to.
So what I'll do is I'll send in a donation with the money that's come in from Unrelenting. That's due to be split from both our halves.
Yeah.
And I'll send in a 33-page note with it and see.
John is going to so happily read that. First of all, he's like, Darren, I thought he was banned. We don't read anything from him.
Get rid of this guy. It's a scam.
Yeah. This guy is just, I don't know. What did you ever do to John anyway? Why is he so pissed at you?
It wasn't he. It was Adam that's always said he hated me.
Well, we knew that, but now I think John's on the same ticket.
Maybe. He's finally caught up. He's like, now I see why. Because I played Iron Maiden and he's like, it's all just not even musical. And I'm like, we play what the trolls play. Like, we try to trigger the trolls. I don't sit around and listen to Iron Maiden at home, really, often. I'm more of I was just playing some really good stuff.
More of a flat butt girl kind of guy.
Right, like Taylor, sure, but I like Uncle Ted. I like a lot of the Americana alt country stuff. That's all I listened to for years was Todd Snyder, Jack Ingram, Guy Clark, Townes Van Zandt, Steve Earle, all that kind of stuff. So it's, I understand the heavy metal thing.
Not really good music or anything, just kind of.
You kind of swerve in and out. I didn't realize that heavy metal, the term itself, I saw this in an article, an interview with one of the guys from, I think, one of the first guitarists with Black Sabbath that said it was a reviewer in, I believe, the UK that really did not like the music, that compared it to the sound of heavy metal being slammed together. And like, that's where the term originated. I guess it makes perfect sense. And now, of course, that is a badge of honor. But I like
not really.
There's diversity, man.
Just for the kids that wear black clothing in school.
It's diversity. What kind of music you listening to? What's on your
hip hop?
I was gonna say
what's
music on your Spotify playlist, but I'm sure you don't have Spotify.
No, I don't do the Spotify's. No, I listen to hip hop mostly.
Really? Like who are your top artists here?
Snoop.
You like Snoop, baby? Gin and juice in it? Snoop. No, I'm not going to be able to get that. I am not going to be able to get the image out of my mind of you. I'm seeing here. This is what is happening in my brain.
He's taller than he looks in TV. I've met him.
Yeah, he seems like he's a fairly tall guy.
He's really tall. He's probably well over 6 foot.
The image I have,
and I'm 4'2". So.
Right. So I mean, you look up to everybody. Is you in a big white Cadillac
puffy
Escalade?
Yeah, with red leather interior.
Oh, okay,
and a big
red leather
fur jacket, white jacket.
Is the jacket over a Adidas tracksuit?
Yes, absolutely.
You definitely have on the Ray-Ban
Beastie Boys
sunglasses.
look? Okay.
And your head is just bopping up and down as you drive down the streets of Austin, sipping on gin and juice, blaring.
Man, you must have a camera installed somewhere.
I can see that. I can totally picture that. And that's the scary part.
It's true. That's totally right there.
But at least it's old school hip hop. Snoop is good. I mean, Snoop has put out some damn good albums.
Yeah, he has over the years. I mean, it's like, I can appreciate some of the hardcore stuff, but I do like more of the classic stuff.
You listening to some Live Crew? Oh, Run DMC, baby, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they do more than just that one song with Aerosmith.
Yeah. Well, yes, I saw that song way after I've been listening to them. Yeah.
You're like, what the hell is this? I mean, I like that.
I mean, it took me a while to understand that the guy screaming was actually saying words.
I didn't understand.
Walk this way.
Yeah. Well, that's Steven Tyler, man. I hope he's doing well.
Now I know that he's the father of Liv Tyler, who's the actress.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a bad looking girl, but
she used to be a reasonably attractive in her 20s. She's really kind of turned into a total mom jeans kind of looking chick.
And you're like, oh, what happened there?
Whoa. She's got to be like 45.
Yeah. Well, that was and I know it seems rude to say, so I'll just put this up front. But one of I was doing a search to see if anybody owned one of the old domains that I had, which was pinupmodels.com.
That sounds like an expensive domain name.
It's for sale now. I mean, I sold it for a few $100, but this is going way back when.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the playmates that I did the website for, who at the time, she was an Austin girl, really hot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I searched her name because she used to have, her own website doing all, the members only kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was all gone. And what came up was a link to a YouTube, to a video podcast where she was the guest. So I'm like, oh, let's see what she looks like. And I'm like scrubbing through the YouTube video, and there's these two guys. And then there's this larger, somewhat unattractive woman in like a white wife beater. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm scrubbing through back and forth, not finding anything. And I realized that's her.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. Like, whoa.
Well, that's what happens with women that peak early.
I guess. Yeah. I guess you got to peak sometime.
There are not many Playboy playmates that don't peak early.
That you're looking at like 50 going, hey, you did well. It's the opposite of
that you're looking at like 33 going, you did well.
You did right. Well, that's what I told my wife. I'm like, I did
by their late 20s, they're starting to kind of lose bits and pieces of themselves.
Yeah. That's what I told my wife. I did well because she doesn't look all that different at this point. So
your wife doesn't look all that different?
No. I mean, aging well, which
that's good.
I mean, it's good for me. I mean, my vision sucks. So maybe that's,
could be
a part of it.
It's good for her.
Right. It is. Absolutely.
Maybe she's the one that dropped a little bit of poison in your eyes when you were sleeping.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. Because she hates that I'm always right. I mean, it's not an easy thing to live with.
Oh, I'm sure she hates that.
With me always being right. But yeah, it's like, yeah, definitely. Peaked early was like, you just wouldn't even recognize. It's the opposite of, and I mean, the women that could do this it's seemingly, maybe this is something in the genetics.
There's quite a few. Like Patricia Arquette, I think falls in that category.
Perhaps.
She definitely peaked in her 20s.
Now, there's very few women, and I'll point to the only ones I can tell you are like Adriana Lima and Alessandra Ambrosio, both Brazilian supermodels who were really hot at 18 and are still really hot at like 40.
Yeah, I would mostly agree with you. Not completely, maybe, but mostly. I wouldn't say hot, but I would say they're still attractive at 40.
Yes, and you definitely, when you see them, you go, oh, I know who that is. Not like, wouldn't recognize you.
Who's that other chick from Brazil?
There's millions of people that came out of Brazil.
She's an actress. She was on Firefly.
Oh, Marina Bar.
Yeah, Bacaro.
Yeah. It was just her birthday the other day.
Was it?
I noticed because I look up birthdays for every rock and roll pre-show, and she popped up. And she still looks good.
Yeah, she actually still looks not as good as she did in her 20s. Let's be honest.
I mean, of course.
And when she chopped her hair, that made her look completely horrible.
Yeah, I do hate the hair chop. I hate that move.
Now that the hair is growing back, I've been trying to explain this concept to women for over 100 years. I don't understand what's so complicated about it. Women's sexuality is expressed through their hair. When you get rid of your hair, you get rid of your sexuality. It's just that simple. And so any woman that decides to go for, I don't want to worry about having to wash my hair, and I don't like long hair. It's too much trouble. Okay, well then be happy with living with a fat slub for a husband, because that's kind of the same thing for a guy, is to just get fat. It's the same thing.
It's the giving up.
Like it takes your sexuality out of the equation. You're not going to be perceived. Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter how you act.
Right. It makes me
how
feel
you
better.
look
Right.
that matters.
Right.
I've been telling women this for literally 100 years, and I swear to God, it goes into one ear and out the other.
It's never made a difference. Nobody's ever taken you up, but nobody's ever been like, okay, I get it.
It's about how you look. It's not about how you feel.
It's a Billy Crystal bit. How you look marvelous.
Yeah, well, that was a lie.
Well, you never look marvelous, Gene. I mean, unless you have the tracksuit on.
No, I mean, when he said that to people, he didn't actually mean it.
I know.
Point.
Sunglasses, long beard. Yeah. I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Crystal was moderately funny, I guess. Not like Joe Piscopo or anything.
Are you from Jersey? I'm from Jersey. You from Jersey?
I mean, Joe Piscopo. Now that guy worked out.
Yeah, early Piscopo was hilarious on Saturday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, though, so was Eddie Murphy. I mean, on Saturday Night Live.
Eddie Murphy's still funny.
And Eddie Murphy
doesn't have to work anymore.
Yeah, well, he pulled it off. I mean, he became one of the most blue comics out there. But he was able to pull off FCC
And then
friendly.
he was a Disney guy.
Yeah.
Making all those movies where he plays every single character, mostly female characters. He likes wearing drag. That's all right. Don't judge.
That seems like it might be hate speech.
I just said don't judge.
If you can't.
Why are you judging?
The other story that I covered on Random Thoughts, because it was a great one this week, was a article.
Welcome to Random Thoughts Review, where we review what Darren covered on his other show.
And it was out of the Israeli Times, that the Bradley Cooper is playing Leonard Bernstein in a biopic, and to make him look a little bit more like
his
Bernstein.
Nose big enough?
Well, that's it. They put a prosthetic nose on, and people are calling it Jew face.
Well, okay, sure. But so what?
Well, again, I don't know why this is even a thing when you have an actor in a movie when you're doing a biopic, when you're doing a movie of somebody that is real. I'm
not sure why they had a white guy playing a Jewish guy. It does seem a little racist.
Well, see, I guess that is the problem. Just like you shouldn't have straight guys playing gay guys and gay guys playing straight guys. You shouldn't have women playing men or men playing women.
Women can play men. There's special dispensation of that.
And then if you're black, you can play anything. Is that
you can play anything? That's true. Mostly, you can play the classics like Othello.
But that would
in the
be
lead role, not in the supporting role.
For me, again, this all came down to intent matters, and if the intent is to make somebody look like another real life person who the world knows what they look like, to make them look as much like that, then I don't understand how that's racist or anti-Semitic in the least.
So you're saying Hamlet is racist?
I'm not saying anything's racist.
Well, it sounds like it, because you're saying if the intent is to make a person look like the real life person, I'm pretty sure Hamlet was not black.
Well, then that's fine. I'm saying if you're having a movie where you're trying to make somebody look like a real person that everybody knows, then of course, I mean, if somebody puts on a wig, to look like somebody, there's a biopic coming out of Weird Al, which I'm really kind of excited about.
Is he playing himself?
No, which would be better.
That would be better.
It's Daniel Radcliffe. Harry Potter is playing.
No way. He's like 1.5 feet shorter.
Well, again,
than Weird Al.
They use camera tricks. They'll put him up on a milk jug or something. They'll shoot.
I guess he is about as skinny as Weird Al, I guess, but.
And he, of course, had to have the hair. I'm wondering if the hair, did he grow it out and dye it, or did they put a wig on him? Either way, is that somehow offensive to somebody? It's like, no, it's not. And I saw a meme posted the other day Weird Al, how many years in the music business, how many Grammys, how many albums sold. And it was like, no, defamation lawsuits, no divorces, no arrests, no drug charges. So I'm just thinking either Al's really good at avoiding all the bad stuff, or he's just really a damn nice guy.
But he does play accordion.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Do you have to be a nice guy to play the accordion? Is that like,
I play accordion.
Well, then the nice guy thing just got shot to hell, didn't it?
That was not the direction I was going with that statement, but okay.
I mean, you're just disproving your own theory right there.
Well, it's just back in my day, that was the instrument to learn.
Well, yeah, before you had electricity, that
Lawrence
was the way.
Welk really popularized that.
The bubble machine. You had to get chicks without electricity. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you needed to provide your own
see
air.
That movie, The Waltz King? There's not the Waltz King, the Polka King.
I don't think so. Is it good? Is it worthy?
Yeah. What's his face plays the main character?
Good old
Jack
what's
Black.
his face? Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he plays the. It's a biography, kind of a documentary, if you will. But Jack Black plays the actual Pennsylvania Polka King.
A docudrama, if you will.
Yeah, and it's amazing, like how he put the weight on just for that movie.
Have you never seen Jack Black outside of the movie? I
mean, he was playing this Polish character. We know all about the Polacks.
No, do we?
Oh yes.
I mean, they make great dumplings.
They keep not wanting to be banned.
Well, you never want to be banned in the USA.
I really don't care.
Banned in the USA. Great song. 2 Live Crew.
Banned in the USA.
Luther Campbell and the 2 Live Crew, baby. It's been way too long since I played that song on the Rock and Roll Pre-Show. Maybe I'll pull that out.
Probably do that, and then sure you don't get big enough that people are listening to it, and you get slapped with a whole bunch of copyright infringement.
Can I play Face Down, Ass Up? That's the Way I Like to Fuck. That was another good one from the 2 Live Crew.
Yeah, they play a little Salt and Pepper.
Oh yeah, I could do that too. A little Run DMC. I know we've played Run. Yeah. I liked the one guy. What are the guys' names from there? I forget. Daryl, I think. Which, I mean, I should know because my name's Daryl on some different shows.
Was that? Oh, damn.
Daryl. Okay. Yeah. He was on Kevin Smith's comic book reality TV series.
Oh, was he?
Comic Book Man, right. And he came in.
That is the most boring reality show in the world.
Well, it was basically Pawn Stars.
It's literally Pawn Stars, but if you can imagine, like loser Pawn Stars.
I thought it was funny. Then again, the guys on that show, I listened to their podcast, Tell 'em Steve Dave. So,
yeah. And I mean, you couldn't find more loser-ish people for a podcast if you tried.
Damn. Gene at SirGene.com.
I'm telling you, man, just watch it. I dare anybody to watch it, or even for that matter, just go ahead and, Google it. And I'm pretty sure you'll find that the commentary on Google is very similar to mine.
Well, I know it was. I mean, it made it like 7 seasons, so it was all a. There's no question to me because it ran after The Walking Dead, so it's like prime time slot was like midnight at most of the time or 2 a.m. But it was definitely done because they like Kevin Smith. There's no question about it. And
it was you know what? I can tell you exactly why it was done.
It was
done because Kevin needed a tax write-off for his comic book shop that's losing money for him.
Probably.
And so he figured, I'll do a reality show.
Yeah.
I won't actually be on the show because I'm too big of a known name, but I'll have the actual cheap-ass employees that I have whose whole lives revolve around these books, quote unquote. And so, because I've always been known as the guy that likes comic books because I make enough money to be able to afford comic books and not spend my entire income on them like the guys that go to the shop. Why don't we just do a show about it? And there'll be a reality show. It'll be awesome.
Now,
and then they realize after filming for 7 weeks that there's no stories going on, so they have to create some.
Well, they all do. That was the problem with any reality show.
I got this book, like 2 years ago, and it's brand new, hasn't been touched. I'd like to have you maybe evaluate it. I'm thinking maybe $500.
It's more like this is from 1950, but it's beat to hell.
Yeah.
But same concept.
Well, Yeah, but no, there's been plenty of, in season 1, there was plenty of that, like, almost brand new shit showing up.
Now there is also,
I didn't say I didn't watch the show. I'm just saying that the show is like,
it's worse
than Pawn Stars, man.
It's a reason I'm on the Patreon for Tell Him Steve Dave is they release like once a month a video episode. They are now going episode by episode of Comic Book Men and doing a behind the scenes. And the behind the scenes are even better than the original show because they do make fun of a lot of that. And they do expose how the television company, brought these, made them bring these people in and the way they wanted to, fake stories and all that. And of course, how they fought them.
Because then it would be interesting, which it's not.
Right.
With fake stories. But
the way Kevin Smith told the original story was he pitched this idea without telling them he even owned a comic book store. And they're like, oh, that's a great idea. And, Kevin Smith, he's like, well, I'm just talking to them. And like, in my store, we have this, this, and this. And they're like, wait, you have a store? And he's like, yeah. They're like, well, why don't we record it there? But in the episode where Daryl from Run DMC came in, he talked about growing up, reading comic books, and how they got their music start. Yeah. They were able to buy the equipment because they sold all their comic books and stuff to get the equipment. So that was the tie-in, whether that's true or not. Right. Yeah. You got to have the scratching going on.
Yep.
So comics kind of launched the career of Run DMC, according to Run DMC.
That's a great story. I wonder who the writer for that episode was.
I don't know. You'd have to ask the guy from Run DMC if that's true or not. We'll get him on the show.
Look up the episode and see who the writer was that created the story for Run DMC to be a guest on.
So you think
it's like Love Boat. I mean, you got to remember, this is just like Love Boat. You have guests coming on. They're reading a script. They're playing themselves. When Zsa Gabor showed up, she was playing Zsa
Charo.
Gabor.
I love Charo, man. Gucci.
Charo was there like every other week. She was on way too much.
Yeah.
Charo with her hair and her boobs and her ass.
Yeah. And the coochie.
That Charo did not have a flat butt.
No, definitely not. I mean, cruise director Julie was always the sweetheart of the show.
Yeah. It's interesting that the doctor was the one getting all the babes all the time.
Yeah. Well, he was also the lead of the Chaos in Get Smart. So, I mean, really,
he was very good in the role of Chaos.
It was a confusing thing. Like, wait.
It was a great accent. It was like a German-Russian accent.
Yes. I mean, it's really hard to do any accent, but if you can combine two.
Yeah.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, great. I mean, Get Smart. For if you don't get comedy, then you wouldn't get the show. But if you will just give in to the slapstick nature, those were some really fun shows.
Did you ever watch any of the stories about that show? Everybody hated being on it.
No, that's sad.
Yeah, apparently Donna Adams was like a total prima donna.
I can kind of see that.
And he was jealous of 99. He was jealous of the people that were actors and had real careers. He was jealous of everybody. And it was not an enjoyable thing. He tried to quit the show 6 times. They wrote him out of episodes multiple times because he never showed up to work.
Which is hard to do when you're the lead guy.
Yeah. I mean,
I've been trying to write you out of episodes for like months.
I know. You keep trying. And then Buck Henry was really the guy that needs to get credit for that show being a thing. And I mean, he and Mel Brooks really wrote it.
Yes, good writing, good gags, a different time, I suppose. It was a non-woke world.
It was really sort of like that generation's Austin Powers.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And for the youngsters out there, Austin Powers was the previous generation before you. What is the modern Austin? There's got to be somebody that did a funny spy spoof recently.
I don't know. I haven't seen one, but
James Bond. Yes, right.
Yeah,
so it's just like the James Bond show. So that they're spoofing Austin Powers,
just like Top Gun. They're just making big bucks now.
I have not seen Top Gun. I understand it's actually pretty good.
That is what I've heard. I've been monitoring certain websites.
Some people are even going to watch it in.
A lot of people are watching it in the movie theaters.
What do you call them? Theaters.
IMAX, the big ones.
IMAX theaters, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kenny Loggins said he recorded a brand new version of Danger Zone, and then everybody agreed the original was
Really?
better. Yeah. The movie
How do you
opens up.
remake Danger Zone? I mean, Danger Zone is such a classic.
I know. Well, and it's so tied to that movie as well that, I mean, it really
It's-
does capture a
yeah.
moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tight to Archer, too.
See, I haven't watched Archer, so
How have you not watched Archer?
I don't
Are you
know.
Neanderthal?
Yes, kind of. I mean, I'm not. I don't know why I
You really
ignore-
only need to watch the first 4 seasons, though.
That's
After
all.
that, it kind of goes God knows where.
I ignore most animated shows, although I really love Bob's Burgers for some reason.
You know, it's the same cast, right?
Yeah, the that are doing the yeah.
Yeah, Bob's Burgers and Archer.
So
Yeah,
maybe
you
I
haven't
should
watched
try it.
Archer. Oh my God!
No,
Yeah, go back. Start at season 1. That's back when they were just kind of testing things out and developing the relationship between Lana and Archer. They are agents of ISIS.
Ooh, that ISIS.
And eventually, in one of the seasons, they have a scene where they're removing the sign that says ISIS. Like, I guess that's not coming back.
Dane Bullysteed says Archer is her guilty pleasure. Why a guilty pleasure though? Is it just because it's
He's a bad boy.
is that it?
Eh,
Lot
you
of
know,
fun.
I mean, he likes his prostitutes. He likes his liquor.
Oh well, wait, this sounds like a better show more and more.
It's an awesome show. I can't believe you didn't watch it. Archer is it's really like this generation's Austin Powers, I would say. Kind of like the previous generations Get Smart. But it's animated because the kids these days, they love the cartoons. They can't get enough of them.
Well, I do understand
The
if
comic
you
books,
have
the cartoons, they love that stuff.
if you have a character, it's great that Bart Simpson hasn't changed. And well, I know let's be honest, he has changed from the original iteration a little, but overall, none of those
he's gotten
characters.
more politically correct, and he's now a 50-year-old woman.
See, now that would be a great series.
Well, he is. I just watched it on YouTube the other day.
Really?
Where Nancy Cartwright walks out of a grocery store and there's
Bart's
a kid
transitioning.
selling Girl Scout cookies or something.
Wow.
And so she's like getting ready to buy some. She's like jumps into this Bart Simpson voice, and the kid looks at her and he's nodding his head. He's like, "Yeah, it's a pretty good impersonation."
Nice.
And she's like, so do you know who the cast of that show is at all? And the kid's like, nope. Like, oh, okay. And then she starts talking more Bart Simpson. And then finally he realizes this is not an impersonation.
Like, you are Bart.
That is actually Bart Simpson, 4th grader. All 4'8" of her. And she does not look like Bart, obviously. She's a
Right.
50-year-old woman. But
This is the great thing about having those series is they can
she
go on for
definitely
30
talks
years.
like Bart.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years plus now for The Simpsons. South Park is getting up there.
It's well over 30, isn't it? I think they started in the mid 80s when Matt Groening was still a youngster himself.
Well, yeah, doing it for the Tracy Ullman show first.
Tracy Ullman Show. That's right.
I remember that. And it was like, wow, this is edgy at the time. I mean, it was, but
I think it was Dan, I forget his last name. Dan.
Kessel, whatever it is.
Yeah. He's
It's a
the one
long
I think
one.
that got that on Tracy's show because he was doing stuff on her show and he knew either somebody or maybe he knew Dan directly.
But it's good
And,
entertainment. I mean, the comic
ended up
book's the same
bringing it
way.
in. Did you watch the episode of Portlandia where
I've never watched Portlandia.
Dan? Oh my God!
Is this another show I should
You are
be?
ridiculous.
Gene, make me a list of what shows I need to be
I've done
watching.
that already, and it's already like 8 pages long, and you're not going to watch them till you're dead now. At this point, with your eyesight,
I just grabbed the middle and wanted to watch that. That was at least a reasonable
the middle.
sitcom. Yeah, I mean, I like what's his name? The guy that plays the dad that was in Scrubs.
Malcolm in the Middle.
No. The middle with
I did not recommend that for you.
Brick and the kid Brick and
Yeah, I definitely did not
Sue
recommend
Heck.
that show for you.
Axel Heck and
Mm-hmm.
it was the woman from the Ray Romano show. Everybody loves
Yeah.
Raymond. All of them. I thought those were good.
The viewers are asking, what game am I going to play next? Do Uno.
Woolly Steed says skip Portlandia.
Oh, well, yes. They don't listen to people like that.
You mean somebody that donates to our show?
Well, somebody that doesn't understand humor.
Whoa, damn. Woolly Steed.
Portlandia,
Gene
one of the funniest shows out there, because you know why? Because it's true.
Truth hurts everybody.
Hilarious.
But the comic books, now they've all gone woke, and they're too damn expensive. I mean, that was, we bought a few recently, a couple of years ago.
Comic books?
Yeah, kind of getting into the resurgence.
You don't have children, do you?
No.
Why are you buying comic books?
To read the stories.
Yeah, I see.
But then my eyesight went.
The pictures are better for you, aren't they?
Well, not now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was mainly reading them on the iPad.
Why don't you get some comic books on Audible? See if that works.
I have Bill O'Reilly's latest on Audible.
That's Killing a good the comic Killers. Book, I hear.
Yeah, it's kind of down the same the same ride. But
seriously, I mean, there's nothing wrong with comic books. I enjoyed them when I was 8 years old, like most kids.
Billy Bones, like, does Darren buy Playboy for the articles? They went bankrupt, man. They're gone.
Yeah.
They sold off their merchandise.
Darren buys the old Playboys, the unopened ones still in plastic that were made in Braille.
Right. See, those are good. You can get the articles.
They had scratch and sniff in them too.
If you want to just be depressed, go to eBay and do a search for Victoria's Secret catalogs and see what just like random catalogs from the 80s, 90s, 2000s are going for.
Oh, they looked way better back then. I'll tell you that.
Well, they don't have them anymore.
Yes, because they used to look good.
Because they went woke. And
they don't look good anymore.
But those old catalogs are worth way more than old issues of Playboy, which is funny on its face. Because
I got rid of my Playboys when I moved to Austin. I had a collection of Playboys from 1972 until the present.
Wow, so you started 72. Is that when you started buying them? And you were what? How old?
That's when I started not opening them.
Oh. Well, see, sealed anything will go for.
Yeah, sealed collection of Playboys from 72 till, 2010?
Can anybody explain to me why the sealed, like, Nintendo games are going for $1 million? I'm not really sure. That there's even grading now, like these companies do gradings on sports cards. They do grading on the
Nintendo games.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what difference it would make because I'm pretty sure those chips don't really get old. So they're not going to be spoiled by air.
True. But it's because, hey, it's sealed in a box. Everything is there.
Yeah, I know. All right. Entertain the folks for a while. I got to check on groceries that just showed up. I'll just be a minute.
No. Gene's groceries
keep
are there.
Keep talking. I had the grocery order coming in.
I will thank those that donated today while you go and get your groceries because we want Gene to be able to eat. We don't want him to be hungry over the weekend. We don't want him to starve. We don't want him to cry if he doesn't have the right Haagen-Dazs double chocolate chip ice cream that he likes. But we do have a few people to thank since this is the first show of June 2022. This includes the people that are still over at the Grumpy Old Ben's Patreon. We should probably change that over to the Unrelenting unless we're going to get some new grumpy material to put over there. But coming in at $10 over there at the Patreonies, Brian Janak, $10. That is very much appreciated, Brian. Stephen McConnell, $5. Dennis Woods, $5. And coming in via PayPal, Kevin Seifert, who added a new monthly donation, and that is very much appreciated as well. Did all your food arrive? Was it in one piece? Was it melted?
I just want to make sure I brought it in the house because it was really warm outside, and then I don't want the cold stuff to.
Well, yeah, like did you get some of the that Haagen-Dazs double chocolate chip that you like?
Fuck you.
So that's a yes.
That's a yes.
See, but I remembered it was the Haagen-Dazs. It had to be the chocolate. It had to be the right one.
It's all natural. It's totally all natural. That's why I get Haagen-Dazs.
Totally all. Well, that was, we ordered the groceries last week and they didn't have the Gold Peak or whatever it is, iced tea
Yeah, that's the one I get as well.
which we like. We like the gold. See, now they're like,
It's
well,
the best tasting no sugar iced tea out there, period.
yes, and I like the unsweetened. I mean, I know you can make it yourself if you want to get tea bags and jars and be a Neanderthal about it.
The sad part about Gold Peak is it's owned by Coke.
Yeah, well, they still do okay.
No, it is. It's the best tasting store purchasable non-sugared iced tea.
Now, what they replaced it with was almost a problem because they replaced it with Milo's, which I like Milo's.
So Milo's is probably, it's the best of the cheap brands.
Yes.
It's better than the Red Diamond.
And the Milo's, because it doesn't have any preservatives in it,
it spoils.
Yes, and it's in the refrigerated section, so we got 3 gallons, and I'm like, oh crap, are we gonna have enough room in the fridge? So we made it fit. But that was the big difference between buying a bunch of, the iced tea that didn't have to go in the refrigerator.
Well, hold on. Gold Peak is also refrigerated and also doesn't have preservatives.
Not when you buy it
in the fridge.
It's non-refrigerated until you open it.
No, it's in the fridge section of the store.
Really? It's not in ours.
Well, I don't know what century you live in because your prices are not real either. They're completely made up.
If you could just come do your grocery shopping here and just drone it over to your, house, you'd be in better shape. You would be in better shape. But we are a value for value podcast. Unrelenting.show is the place you want to go if you want to show some value back. I know times are tough, so give us a review. Leave us a 5-star.
Actually, that's a good point. We could definitely use more reviews, and probably all of Darren's shows and all of my shows could use some more reviews. Nobody ever does those.
Yeah, if you could do that, that would help out greatly.
We might even send you some money.
Yeah, get noticed. That wouldn't be a bad idea for a promo. But I hear No Agenda complaining that donations are down, and they're like, well, is it the time change? And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense because 99.9% of the people don't pay any attention to what time the show records live. They just listen to it when it's done. My buddy Larry over from That Larry Show and PlanetRage.show said that his Patreon was down a decent amount. There's no question. It's because of the fact that gasoline, price of food, everything is sky high and people are feeling it. And we get that. We get that, but it's going to hurt everybody. It's only going to get worse. So if you can help promote the show in any way possible, I mean, you reviewing it might help. Maybe Bill Gates hears the show and like, hey, I like this Russian guy. I'm going to send him $1 million.
He's a cheap fucker. Everybody knows that.
Okay. Melinda Gates is who we're going after.
I don't know if she's much better. She married him.
Who is the? But she wanted to give the money away.
That is known for standing at a Quickie Mart, buying something that's under $1 and searching his wallet for change with other people standing in line behind him.
Wow.
Going, do you need $1, buddy, just to get out of here?
Or I mean, I hear that Sir Gene will not even keep anything smaller than 100 in his wallet.
That's true.
That
is actually true because I don't carry a wallet around.
Really? You're just are you chipped?
Not with any money. I'm pure plastic.
Are you chipped though? Where do you carry the plastic, or do you have like an RFID tag in your?
I do not have a built into
wrist.
my arm RFID chip. No. But I have a phone that is capable of paying for things, and I have a plastic credit cards that are capable of paying for things. I don't need to carry cash around.
What is your split there? Do you mainly use the phone, or do you mainly use a card?
Phone I only use at Starbucks and a couple other places. I use the cards everywhere else.
Because I mean, I know. So you
most often you have to hand them the card. You're not gonna give them your phone.
Well, no, you just tap the phone on the little devices now, which is really easy.
Well, if you're in a place that has a little device to tap, sure.
Well, almost who doesn't have the tapping?
Most restaurants.
Well, okay, that's true. That's for anything at the table I can see.
Where else do you go?
Grocery store, coffee shop,
deliver.
Fast food. Wait,
that delivers.
Yeah, I don't like delivery, man. The more I see videos about like Uber Eats and stuff delivers, I don't want to do anything with the delivery service. I'd rather go out.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think the problem with going out is that they're probably spitting in your food.
Well, they're doing that when you get it delivered too. But you have the double choice of the people making your food and the people delivering the food then. Especially if it was
they have no reason to spend.
Yes, they do, because the last time they delivered something to you, you only gave them a $10 tip, and they felt you should have given them a $12 tip. So now they're pissed.
12 was the suggested tip. That is true.
Now they're pissed off. Net Boost, say double chocolate chip fudge swirl almond coffee ice cream karma, and send it 1,000 sats.
That's a lot of ingredients, my friend.
But it's all natural.
I don't know if that's going to be all natural, but the best ice cream that I've ever had is actually ice cream I've made myself.
Oh, it's Ice Cream Talk with Gene. I remember trying that once, where you take the machine was, a little very manual kind of a device, but it was like, you take ice and then you put salt into it so it can drop the temperature down, and then you pour the stuff in and turn and turn and turn and turn. I'm betting you have a device for this, though.
I do. I have a commercial ice cream maker.
A commercial one? Dude, I'm coming to your house to party.
You should.
Live from Austin, Texas.
That's right. We've been talking about having dinner in Chicago. Maybe we ought to move it. Maybe we ought to have a dinner down here.
Making live ice cream. Right.
Yeah, and I remember I made this. It was I made ice cream for Adam and Tina when I cooked them a 5-course meal.
Well, of course, if you're making a 5-course meal, you need to have fresh homemade ice cream.
Fresh ice cream right at their house,
made with love.
But I've made a lot of different flavors. The trick to making good ice cream is you have to start with heavy cream, which nobody does anymore because it's too expensive. You're lucky if you're getting half and half. Most ice cream that's made is made with regular milk and guar gum.
Nobody wants guar gum.
Well, no, it's not bad for you or anything. It's just there's a very distinct difference in flavor between something that
it's the mouthfeel. It's the fat.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that is simulating the mouthfeel of fat and actual fat.
Give us fat or give us death.
Tasty. But so what I actually do is I start off with heavy cream, and I put that in the centrifuge, and the centrifuge will separate the fat from the milk solids, and then I can actually have ice cream, which has a controlled amount of fat depending on how I'm centrifuging it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. And then the machine takes care of cooling, churning, freezing, and mixing, and all that good stuff. And then, I think I made hemp ice cream for Adam when I was doing it. Hemp ice cream with some basically chocolate little sprinkles or chips, but they were sourced from one of the Amazon tribes and then shipped over by boat, and it was a fun story in the back of the container.
Yeah, sure.
It was very tasty. I had, I think, 2 portions myself. So Adam and Tina had to split one, and
well, that only seems fair. I mean, if you're making it,
I know, it's true. So, but homemade ice cream is very good, and I've learned how to get it to be in its optimal state, and it comes out somewhere like halfway between what you think of as normal ice cream and what you think of as gelato when I make it.
Interesting. It's like your own little twist.
I like it softer than ice cream, but I like it a little more, a little more airy than gelato.
More like soft serve ice cream kind of a thing.
Yeah, but not really soft.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We have 1,000 sat boost from Amducius, who says,
holy shit, that's going to pay for some ice cream.
Have you heard of AI.cooking featuring 2 guys and a dog? I hear it's a new podcast out there.
AI cooking. I don't think I've seen that, but I will definitely check it out. I love watching cooking YouTube shows.
This is CSB's show, AI.cooking.
AI cooking? No. Is he on YouTube? I don't think that he could have either his voice or his face on YouTube.
No, it's just an audio podcast read by Gregory William Forsyth Foreman from Kent, UK.
Yeah, the cock.
Yes, Gwyff.
I don't know what Gwyff is, but yeah, definitely a cock.
That's his Gregory William Forsyth Foreman. That's GWFF. Gwyff.
Sure.
He's
a cock.
Because otherwise saying Gregory William Forsyth Foreman, and the fact that I know that now is just disturbing because I've read so many of the notes from CSB.
Well, there's a good cooking episode. Well, actually, many good cooking episodes that Sasha Grey does in her show.
You've talked about that, yeah.
I enjoy watching Sasha Grey.
And if CSB's show would actually have recipes,
Sasha Grey in it, I would probably watch it.
If it had Sasha Grey presenting and it had like recipes that were created by AI, that would be a great show.
That actually would be an interesting show. I wonder if someone's already doing something like that. I'll have to check that out.
Because it would all just be computer modeled, because obviously the robot doesn't have a palate, but if it could figure out what ingredients to put together, if they could unlock that code.
Oh, that's cute. You don't know the difference between a robot and AI.
No, I said that would need a robot to be able to have the sensor. You need a computer or something for the sensor. The AI would be the software. It's a software hardware thing.
It's a software hardware thing. Yes.
You need both. You need both.
They do have automated cooking robots in Japan. Those are a lot of them out there.
So does White Castle. They're coming here, baby. They're automating like a bunch of locations where the robot's going to do all the cooking.
That's awesome.
This is what happens.
Still around? I haven't been to one of those in ages.
Oh yeah, they're still around here. I mean, I used to love them.
They're little steamed mini burgers,
steamed with onions, steamed on a bill. A nice griddle with onions, steamed, and there's just a texture and a taste to White Castles that you just don't soon forget. But
yeah, I remember they were pretty good.
This is the result of the minimum wage going up and up and up. Is companies like White Castle going, can buy a robot.
Yeah, robot's only like $30,000.
Yeah.
How much is a person worth?
It's going to be a higher upfront cost, but maintenance on the robot's cheaper than paying 5 hourly workers, all day long to make the food.
Yeah, Blade Runner was a documentary. It was not fiction.
Are you reclassifying some of these things?
No, I've always maintained that was the case.
Sometimes it is the what do they say, like truth and fiction, reality mimicking truth, and
imitating
truth
one imitates the other.
Yeah, art imitating life, or life imitating art.
June 12th is going to be First Contact Day.
June 12th. Okay.
Yep.
We'll be watching out for that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have going on this weekend? Anything fun? Well, actually, I was going to ask if we got sidetracked there before. We're going to have the Gina Palooza out in your backyard. I mean, how far are you from the Circuit of the Americas? Because I'm getting into racing a little more. I mean, would that be a come out for the race?
6 miles, 7 miles.
Oh well, then hell, I should come out for the race next year, and
you should.
We wouldn't have to have a place to stay. We can stay in the Snakes room, and
yay! If you're cool with staying in the Snakes room, you're more than welcome, man. Most people are not, but he doesn't mind.
He's like, no problem. You just look like
more
food to
warm
me.
Food.
Right.
I mean, more people staying here is great.
I think you had it right the first time. Oh, that's what did I do? I'm getting a big treat tonight.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gene. You're feeding me well.
Yeah, that is.
No, he's not going to eat people. He's a friendly snake. Yeah, Circuit of America is not that far. Downtown is just like maybe a mile and a half.
Oh, well, you want to avoid that place.
Tesla factory is like 2.5 miles from here.
I mean, there's a lot of good music we know in Austin.
Airport's 3.5 miles.
There's a lot of good food.
Anything in Austin that you want, I'm right in the middle of.
It's got Tex-Mex written all over it.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't do Tex-Mex food?
That, but there's actually some really good restaurants if you like Tex-Mex really close here.
I mean, I probably like straight up.
There's also a really good Mexican restaurant here.
That's what I was going to say. I'm probably more straight up like Mexican food over Tex-Mex.
Yeah, not me.
No, what? You just need the chocolate ice cream.
But the
flan.
Mexican restaurant here, the original Mexican restaurant of Austin, is still open, and it's just like a mile and a half down the road.
Oh, is Podcasting 2.0? What time are they doing a show here today? I don't want to be on the stream when Adam wants to stream.
Asking me?
I'm asking the trolls here. They're here for Podcasting 2.0, which means we should probably
listen to us.
Well, until Adam presses the button and disconnects us from the stream.
Exactly. And it's not like Adam's going to be waiting for us to finish. Whenever he pushes the button, he pushes. We keep talking.
Right. We just disconnect.
Yeah. We're on YouTube, so it doesn't matter.
We are on the tube. And feel free, if you're listening, if you're checking in, Podfather, feel free to disconnect this show at any time. And
feel free to tune into YouTube and watch a little bit of our show while you're doing yours.
Hey, feel free, unrelenting.show. I mean, you need to subscribe, man.
Yeah.
You need to subscribe.
And unrelenting.show, there's a link to the YouTube channels, right, Darren?
Yeah, I'm sure there would be. Or you just search for Unrelenting
Cody says,
on YouTube.
Portlandia is solid. Go suck it, Darren.
See, I'll try it. I'll try Portlandia. I will try Archer, and we will report back.
Centerfinger says, sorry, Darren, the White Castles are the worst spider ever conceived.
What was worst spider?
And they correct
Slider.
themselves.
Okay, so there you go. That makes way more sense. Yeah. I
again, feel like they're the original Slider. I mean,
yes,
I had those way back when White Castles were still white.
It is the nostalgia.
I don't know if you can call it white anymore.
Right. That's very racist to be White
Rainbow
Castle. Dude, yes. Let's start one of those petition.org, whatever.
Yes, let's change White Castle to Rainbow Castle, please.
Yes, today. We need to change it to Rainbow Castle.
Because after all, happy Gay Day, because today is officially the beginning of Gay Month.
And there is a well-known ice cream shop out of the Chicago area called Rainbow Cone. So I wonder, should they change their name to White Cone or something then, just to
definitely not
equal things out?
They're just ahead of the curve. That's all.
Nice. Well, do we got anything else?
Well, I was going to talk about Russia for a while, but
nobody wants to hear about.
Like we're going to run out of time.
Nobody wants to hear about Ukraine.
No, well, sure, okay, fair enough. No, we won't talk about it then.
I mean, did you have some new breaking information that we must get out?
Not really.
Were you just going to regurgitate the same old party line?
I'm going to regurgitate.
Are you going to give the talking points that Vlad gave you in the phone call that you had right before this show?
I guess I can do them on my other show. It's not a big deal. I do have another show tomorrow that I'm recording, so that's fine.
That would be Sir Gene Speaks, available podcast.sirgene.com, or go to Podcast Index, look up Sir Gene, Gene, and you will find it.
Yeah, don't look up the word surgeon.
You'll get completely different
because
videos.
Occasionally that's what people do.
Or surging. You're surging ahead.
Well, I don't know about that, but definitely surgeon has come up.
Sir Gene is surging ahead. Yeah. And listen, of course, to Random Thoughts, RANDUMB, thoughts.com.
Yeah, and listen to two guys that speak in a very bassy voice.
That's planetrage.show.
Yeah, I can't even, yeah.
And this is
Rage. When are you on? Mondays?
That's Mondays, yeah. So we bookend. We do Monday, we do Friday, we do Wednesday with the solo show. We do the rock and roll pre-show on Thursday and Sunday. I'm always looking to add. To add more. Always looking to add more. But thanks to everybody in the troll room for hanging out with us.
Anybody that feels like they want to be a guest on the show, just let Darren know. He'll set up a brand new show for you.
Exactly. Everybody that's listening on YouTube, thanks for listening on YouTube. It's a nice new outlet where you can comment directly. So Gene watches those. I watch the No Agenda troll room notes.
I'm happy to go more games as we do the show. But if you guys want to give me some suggestions of actually interesting games, not stupid games,
Gene's going to play.
I think I've got over 100 games in my Steam library. So
how about Leisure Suit Larry, the original?
That's not in my Steam library.
Well, get it, man.
Don't believe that's currently available.
We'll be back.
That game was out when you were a kid, man.
Yeah. I had to see it in like a monochrome monitor. That was less fun. In like 8-bit porn. Not what it's cracked up to be.
I don't think it was 8-bit even at the time.